Hi, everybody. Our story today is about gingerbread, and it is titled The Best Gingerbread Race Ever. It's a little bit of a silly story. It's definitely a pretend story, but we can still have fun reading about it. So I see a variety of gingerbread cookies on the cover. I see a little teeny tiny gingerbread in, it looks like the trophy. I see a gingerbread bear, maybe, and a couple of gingerbread girls, and a couple other candy creatures. So let's see what happens in a gingerbread race. The author who wrote the words, her name was Kelly Hargrave, and the illustrator who drew these wonderful pictures, his name is John Joven. Here we go, the best gingerbread race ever. There they are, there he is racing. It says, Tiny Tinsel was made of gingerbread. He was a little spicy, he was a lot sweet, and he was extra shiny. So he's a little gingerbread cookie. And he was super duper tiny, but being small did not hold him back from his favorite day of all. It says, Welcome to the gingerbread race. One lucky winner will take home the sweetest gingerbread trophy ever. But who will it be? There was Cotton Candy Yeti. He said, Good luck finding a way around that fluffy fur. There's Miss Sprinkletoes. She leaves a trail of sprinkles wherever she goes. And Lucky Licorice. His long legs leap unbelievable lengths. And Bubblegum Berry. Those bubblegum paws bounce him high into the sky. We also have Giggling Gumdrop. Her wand fires gumdrops whenever she giggles. And here's Tiny Tinsel. He says, Down here. He may be tiny, but his heart is mighty. Tiny Tinsel knew he was the underdog, but he had dreamed of running in the great gingerbread race ever since his first day out of the oven. He practiced running laps around his hot chocolate pond and leaping over stacks of marshmallows. Now it was finally his time to shine. So the illustrator drew a counter with some cooking ingredients. I see some butter and marshmallows and maybe some sugar. And there is the mixer. Perhaps that's the mixer that was used to bake him. With the toot of a lollipop whistle, the racers were off. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Tiny Tinsel was already very far behind, but he didn't let that get him down. He ran and skipped and hopped until he noticed something odd up ahead. Sprinkletoes and Cotton Candy Yeti were stuck together and surrounded by a sea of sprinkles. Oh, my frosting! What happened here? Asked Tiny Tinsel. Cotton Candy Yeti tripped on my sprinkles and landed right on top of me, said Sprinkletoes. This was the perfect time for Tiny Tinsel to get ahead in the race, but he looked down at his big, shiny heart, and his tiny feet were perfect for tiptoeing around the sprinkles without slipping. Then he pulled Sprinkletoes free. Well, friends, let's think about this. They're in a race, and the Yeti, the Cotton Candy Yeti, and Miss Sprinkletoes got stuck together. And Tiny Tinsel thought, boy, I could really run ahead of them since they're stuck, and I could become in first place in the race. But he decided not to. He showed kindness by helping Cotton Candy Yeti and Miss Sprinkletoes instead of running ahead. That was pretty kind of him. Using his shimmery icing, he made her a pair of shoes to keep her sprinkles from spilling and Yeti from falling. Then they all raced off together. So if you look at her feet, he used his icing to make her special shoes so her sprinkles don't trip other people. So off they raced until... Oh, my frosting, what happened here? Asked Tiny Tinsel. And she says, I can't stop laughing. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Those butterscotch birds won't stop telling jokes, Lucky Licorice said. I tried to dodge her gumdrops, but I got tangled up instead. Oh no, Lucky Licorice's legs are all in knots. They're so busy laughing. This was the perfect time for Tiny Tinsel to get ahead in the race. But he looked down at his big, shiny heart, and Tiny Tinsel decided his hands were perfect for undoing even tinier knots. Yippee! My legs are free, said Lucky Licorice. That was nice, friends. Tiny Tinsel showed kindness again. He could have ran past Lucky Licorice, but he decided to help his friend instead. Cotton Candy Yeti stuffed big tufts of blue fluff in Giggling Gumdrop's ears. I can't hear any more jokes. They all raced off together. So if you remember, friends, Giggling Gumdrop, when she laughs, sprinkles and gumdrops come out of her ears and out of her whisk and wand. So they put some cotton candy in her ears so she can't hear jokes anymore. That way everybody stays safe. Off they raced until it was none other than Bubblegum Berry stuck in a peppermint tree. Oh, my frosting, what happened here? Asked Tiny Tinsel. So they're all looking up, friends, at the beautiful peppermint tree. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's Bubblegum Bear. I bounced so high, I landed in this tree, and now I'm stuck. This was the perfect time for Tiny Tinsel to get ahead, but he looked down at his big, shiny heart, and Tiny Tinsel knew he was light and small enough to be easily lifted to the top of the tree. Then he ninja chopped Bubblegum Bear free. That was nice. He's helping the bear. So it looks like his friend Lucky Licorice is lifting the tiny gingerbread cookie up into the tree to help the bear. That's kind. And they're also using teamwork to help Bubblegum Bear. Hooray! I get to bounce another day, said Bubblegum Bear. They all raced off together until they came across a raging root beer river with the finish line just on the other side. What on Eggnog's earth are we to do? Said Sprinkle Toes. Oh no, so this is a river, friends. It looks like they can't cross. It's too wide. Maybe they don't know how to swim. But Tiny Tinsel already knew just what to do. So the river is so big, friends, there's no way to get around it. I wonder what Tiny Tinsel thinks. They tied one end of a long piece of licorice to a donut tree. Oh my goodness, friends, look at that donut tree. Then Bubblegum Bear bounced across the river. Hooray! And landed with a squish on a marshmallow bush. So he was almost like Tarzan, and he swung across the river, holding on to the licorice. He tied the other end to a tall lollipop. It looks like the friends are using the licorice as a bridge. Then with a hoot and a holler, the others quickly followed. So they're balancing on the licorice to get across. When everyone landed, they looked toward the finish line. But who should win the race? Asked Cotton Candy Yeti. I'd still be a tangled mess of licorice. If it weren't for Tiny Tinsel, I'd still be spewing sprinkles, said Miss Sprinkles. I would still be giggling up a storm, said Gumdrop Giggles. And I would still be stuck in that tree if it wasn't for Tiny Tinsel, said Bubblegum Bear. But it wasn't just me, said Tiny Tinsel. That was a whole lot of we. I've got one more idea, something the crowd will never expect. So, friends, all of Tiny Tinsel's friends are saying how Tiny Tinsel helped them. So I think they want Tiny Tinsel to win the race because he was such a nice friend. But Tiny Tinsel used a word. He said we. It's It sounds like he wants his other friends to join him. Let's see what he's thinking. They all crossed the finish line together. That was nice. You're all winners, the announcer cheered. It was the best gingerbread race ever, thanks to Tiny Tinsel's big heart. So, friends, that's the end of our story. And remember, winter and Christmas time gives us a chance to think about how to be kind. Our little tiny gingerbread was very slow in the beginning of the race, and he had a chance to race ahead of his friends when they were all stuck. But he was a kind friend and decided to help his friends instead of winning first place. So think about that next time you have a friend who needs help. Maybe you can be like Tiny Tinsel and show kindness too. I hope you liked this story, friends. It was full of yummy, delicious candy treats as we read, and the illustrator did a beautiful job with these beautiful pictures and characters. I will see you soon. Have a great day.